pushes way up the racetrack, and now here comes Janzik. Janzik goes by Quarry, and he goes by Inman. Burnell gets a great run, another 3 wide for the race lead. It's going to drag race off of turn 4. Shepard is there, but it's Larry White at the line. Still going to be Pat Ward, and they make contact. Britton has broken the race car. AJ Slideways. Alan Johnson wins.
Whether you hug the infield tires or rip the cushion, you found the fastest dirt track podcast in motorsports. Welcome to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway. Here's Stephen and Brad Ovens.
That's right. Welcome in episode 3 of Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of the Land of Legends Raceway. I am your lead announcer and host of the podcast, Steve Ovens, coming at you here on opening week 2022 as we get ready to turn loose the Pepsi Big Block Modifieds for their first feature of 2022. The Speed Connection Sportsman ready to kick off their season as well, and it's going to be a big one right out of the gate for the Sportsman, as this is qualifier number 1 for the Gerald Hares Memorial Sportsman Challenge presented by Sterling Lubricants. It will be a huge week for the Sportsman regulars as they get ready to try to qualify for one of the top 4 spots in Saturday night's feature. If they get one of those top 4 spots, they will lock themselves into finale championship night for the Gerald Hares Memorial on Saturday, September 17th. And the way that's going to work is like this. We will take the top 4 feature finishers on Saturday night. Nobody's qualified in yet, so it will be the top 4 finishers. They will lock into Saturday, September 17th. That will be followed up by a show on June 30th when the Dirt Car Sportsman Series travels in for their lone event of the 2022 schedule at the Land of Legends. We will take the top 4 cars not already locked in from the feature finish that night. So the top 4, if the top 4 from this Saturday night are not in the top 4 positions on June 30th, those top 4 will lock themselves into Saturday, September 17th, followed by a show on August 18th. Again, we'll take the top 4 cars not already qualified for the Gerald Hares Memorial Sportsman Challenge. Then we will follow that up with another show on our championship night for our points drivers on Saturday, September 3rd. Again, the top 4 cars not already locked in will punch their ticket to Saturday, September 17th. Now, out of those first 4 chances, there's 16 spots that we will give away for that show. If you don't make it into any of those top 16 spots, you still have 2 opportunities to get in the show. First, you can run the non-qualifiers race on Friday, September 17th. We'll take the top 12 to give us a total of 28 cars from that show. And then the last chance to qualify, not really a last chance showdown. This is going to be a non-winners race. If you've never won a Sportsman race, you have an opportunity to race in that event. And we will take the top 2 from the non-winners race to go into the big dance on Saturday, September 17th. That's $150 to start, $2,500 to the winner for the Gerald Hares Memorial Sportsman Challenge, presented again by Sterling Lubricants. Can't thank Sterling Lubricants enough for all of their support in 2022 to put on the Sportsman Challenge. And they're a new sponsor for us at the Land of Legends, and we couldn't be happier to have them on board as we get ready to kick off a very exciting season. I'm sure it's going to be a trying season for many racers. We've talked at length about some of the challenges that race teams are facing right now, whether it's tires, part shortages, fuel price increases, all of those different things that are going on right now. And the guest tonight in our A-Main interview of the week is Eldon Payne Jr., who is the proprietor at Speed Connection. And I wanted to get his take on where we're at right now going into opening week. You know, where are we at with the part shortages that everybody loves to talk about? It's just been a topic. It's not that people love to talk about it. It's just been a hot topic that we're all aware of what's going on right now in our country. But we'll get it right from Eldon Payne about, what he's seeing as a parts supplier to so many of our race teams here that compete at the Land of Legends. We talk about part shortages. We talk about their business moving to routes 5 and 20. They've had that location for a little bit now, but they're now got the showroom ready to go. And he's going to tell us about something they're going to start doing on race night. Typically, if you own a business and you're a racer, you're closing up your business at, 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes maybe even later if you've got a short trip to the racetrack. But Eldon and the crew from Speed Connection are going to do a little something different for the racers. If you run into a problem on race night, or if you have a bad night at the track, you know what you need parts-wise already. They're going to give you an opportunity to stop at Speed Connection on your way home so that you don't have to take the car home, unload it, then go to the parts store, then go back, put it back together. It's going to be something pretty cool. Eldon's going to talk to us about why they're doing that and what their expectations for that will be. And speaking of expectations, we talked to Eldon as well about his insight and his expectations for his young driver, Alex Payne, who's getting ready to kick off his big block modified career at the Land of Legends. If you watched our recent video with Alex looking at his first career Sportsman win on our Land of Legends TV retrospective, we're going to talk to Eldon and kind of get his perspective as not only crew chief, but dad as well. And not just dad to one driver, dad to two drivers. We talk about, what he expects and what he wants to accomplish with Alex this season in the big block modified. And we also talk about what he wants to accomplish with young Kennedy Payne as a Sportsman modified driver in the Speed Connection Sportsman. She's going to be competing in our new Legend Sportsman division sponsored by Mighty Boba. And I'm very interested in it was a lengthy conversation, but trust me, it's a good one. So stick around for the entire episode here. And don't forget, opening week, Saturday night at the Land of Legends Raceway. It is opening night 2022 presented by Howell Properties. And Jack Howell, man, I know you're a listener of the podcast. Thank you. Not only has Jack come back as a sponsor at the track this season to take opening night this year, Saturday, April 30th, he's also taken another event on the schedule a little bit later in the early parts of the summer. Jack, can't thank you. He's a huge race fan. He's been around Land of Legends Raceway for a long, long time, supporting many drivers and not just supporting drivers, but just being a race fan. And if you saw his interview from last year, you can just, you can really put your finger on the pulse of how Jack feels about motorsports. And we couldn't be happier to have him as one of our dedicated and loyal sponsors at Land of Legends. So opening night this Saturday, April 30th, big block modifieds, Sportsman, new Legend Sportsman, 305 sprint cars, street stocks, and the hobby stocks will all put on a show for you. Pits open at 3:30 p.m. Pit passes $40 to enter. We will then open the grandstand gates at 5 o'clock, with general admission being $15, seniors $13, and kids under 16 free of charge with a paid adult admission ticket at the Land of Legends Raceway. So we hope you join us this coming Saturday for opening night. And if you can't make it to the racetrack, you can still tune in. If you've been a longtime fan here the last couple of years, you know all about it. 100% free video coverage on Land of Legends TV. All you got to do is log on to www.landoflegendstv.com, create your free account, and you can watch each and every Saturday night spectacular for free. The only events that you will not see free this season are the midweek shows when the Super Dirt Car Series comes into town. Those will be aired on Dirt Vision. But Saturday night spectaculars, you can't beat it. Free to watch on the go, whether you're watching on the Land of Legends app, whether you're watching, you can watch right from a browser on your phone. But I do recommend watching from the app. And then, of course, if you're watching at camp, you're watching from home, you're watching in the garage, wherever it is you're tuning in from, don't forget we also have the Amazon Fire Stick app and the Roku app as well. You have both of those options for viewing as well. All right, I think I've talked enough about what we've got going on this week. Don't forget, Land of Legends TV will kick off at 6:15 p.m. on Saturday, and it will kick off with our very first one-on-one interview with young Nicholas Root. Nick Root, I don't know if he probably doesn't want to be called Nicholas. I guess I'll have to ask him in the interview. But Nick Root is our guest this week, a great young shoe who's already turning heads. He hasn't even made an official start at the Land of Legends. He's already turning heads. He was second quick in one of the practice sessions last Saturday. He finished second to Alex Payne at Outlaw Speedway the night before on Friday. This young cat, and of course, if you know the Root family, you know his grandfather. If you're a history buff, you know the name Steve Pisaric, Nick's grandfather. Man, that's a racing family, and Nick has got a lot of good teachers, not just in the family, but a lot of their friends in the motorsports industry. And Nick Root, everybody says he's going to be a kid to keep your eye on, and he's going to get to show us all that on Saturday night. And we get to sit down with him in our one-on-one interview this week, presented by Wicked Tees. Shout out to Chris Doherty, Jeff Doherty, and the whole crew right down here where I'm located, down in the Southern Tier at Wicked Tees. Find them on Facebook at Big Jim's Wicked Tees for all of your screen printing, signage, apparel needs. Contact Wicked Tees. They also do trophies, awards. If you've got anything, I'm actually forwarding my fantasy football league over to Wicked Tees to try to beef up our trophy for the league winner. Which, I won the league a couple years back. But it's been a little rough since then. But anyway, Wicked Tees, they do all sorts of award plaques. They did all of our awards for the iRacing series we ran a year or so back. And they're just a great racing family who's been at this game quite a while. Jeffrey, of course, races modifieds. He was a former Pepsi Big Block modified driver with us at Land of Legends. And I'm sure we'll see him with some of the touring series throughout the season. So thank you to them. They are presenting the one-on-one interviews on Land of Legends TV this year. And I think I've talked enough because Eldon and I chatted for quite a bit on this week's A-Main interview of the week. Stick around. You're listening to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway.
By the grace of God and 800 horsepower, it's time for the A-Main interview of the week.
That's right, fans. Welcome into the A-Main interview of the week. And this week, we're bringing the A-Main interview of the week to you from Speed Connection here on Routes 5 and 20 in Canandaigua, right on your way to the Land of Legends Raceway. And Eldon Payne joining us here on this week's program. Eldon, I appreciate you having me out here. And things are coming right along here at the new shop.
Yeah, we've been trying to get things ready for the season as shop at home and shop here and cars, and we're getting there.
It's been a busy off season, huh?
Yes, it has.
Tell us a little bit about what you guys offer here. I mean, I say it at the racetrack. I kind of say it. All the race parts you need to get your race car to the racetrack. But for you here as a business, what does that mean?
We're trying to. What you say at the track is true. We're going to try to be a little bit off the cuff with some hours, and some guys get done at the track and they had problems. We're going to plan on having somebody here so they could stop by maybe and get stuff for Sunday. Wheat Sport isn't open every Sunday anymore, but there's a lot of races going on around the area, and we're here 8 to 5 every day now, and we're finishing up the showroom, and there are parts here, and just in today's day and age, it's going to get even harder for people to travel. So hopefully our little stop in between You got Jeffries and Troyer, and then you go south all the way to trackside, and Steve Payne does a little bit here and there with tires and fuel and some of the stuff. So I think we're in a right place to fit in and help the racers, and it's certainly helped us.
You talk about this day and age in racing, and it's been a tough off season. What is the big ticket item right now that is not just here but any locations? What is the big ticket item that we're having trouble with right now?
I think the biggest problem is flat line, just steering boxes.
Okay.
Is the biggest problem. Sweet and GME and these guys are trying their hardest. They're having a hard time with parts and machining and I was told a week or so ago that just plain help, like everybody else is saying now, that things are starting to get in order and they got their parts and pieces, but you don't think about it with the steering boxes are in mini sprints and sprint cars and a late model or your IMCA cars. I mean, these guys are building steering boxes for so many divisions, and we went through the winter. There's really not any off time for them anymore.
Yeah.
So they're the only two that are mainline profile. They're a lot farther away, but I haven't even heard that name mentioned around here in so long. That seems to be the big thing, for anybody. And, the main little stuff, everybody's trying to keep up. To be honest with you, it seems like a lot of race cars are being built and a lot of different teams are looking to travel. And until we just had this, major increase in fuel and stuff. So I'm not sure. I think you're going to see a lot of things change in the next month, for everybody, depending on what happens with fuel costs.
You talked about steering boxes there. That'd be a hell of a trivia question. What's the one part that doesn't matter what division you race in? What's one common part? And that's it, steering boxes.
Oh, yeah. And, when I was talking to Butch down at GME, he was, was saying, you had the chili bowl, you had all these cart, things going on inside. And he goes, there's customers trying to get cars done for all that other stuff during the winter. And he goes, you have to switch from one thing to the next. And same with, with the sweet stuff, So, and then GM changed up some stuff on sweet, and they had to try to get their parts out to a different company to get stuff heat treated and plated, and and so it was totally caught them off guard, and so every race car's got to have one. That's the you aren't going to turn left or whatever you're going to be racing, so.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're in need of any parts, any pieces, or hell, even some knowledge, man, you're not going to find a guy that has got a whole lot more experience. How long have you been around the sport?
I sat in the grandstands at Canandaigua from the time I was 5 years old till I'm 50. So
wow.
And back then we couldn't go in the pits, so. My dad and them guys would be, running street stocks in the pits. And back then they had rookie, novice, and expert, and that's what they were doing, So
yeah,
it's been a long time. I don't know anything different. I think it's a great place for young kids. Everybody's family, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the pits. They know you. They know you. They may not know you, but they know your kids. They know, and my kids, look at Alex. I mean, he's been running around the pit since we started, in his mom's belly, and to where he is now, and his sister is the same way, and that's where they want to be.
You've been around the sport for a while, and then, when Alex and Kennedy come along, was there ever a thought in your mind that, I don't know if I want them to get wrapped up in this racing stuff? Was that ever a thought?
No, not so much for me. I mean, I knew that, we played, I was a huge baseball fan. So, I mean, both my kids played a lot of football, baseball, basketball. And I just wanted it to be their choice, not our choice, not my choice. Alex actually, and a lot of people don't know it, he had a slingshot sitting in the garage for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And, we were playing 30 plus baseball games a year on the road.
Okay.
So, and I told him, I said, when you're ready to go out there and turn the wrenches with me, you're talking to a 9-10-year-old, you know what I mean, at the time.
Yeah.
And, it was a place to get started. And I never dreamed that at 15, 16 years old that he would have been already winning the races that he's done and how fast that was. And, John Sparing, you talked about Troy on the thing earlier with Alex. I mean, I know a lot of people don't know, but, John come up to me after Alex won his first slingshot race, and I didn't know John. And he goes, we got an extra car, and we just got into this, so why don't we put Alex in it? And I'm like, man, he's 11 years old. I don't think anybody's going to let him drive it,
Sure.
And then Bill Shea actually had Utica Rome, and Tyler Siri, of course, and him and I have been friends for a long time, and he's like, oh, we'll take him. And Paul had just gotten started, so he couldn't, insurance-wise and trying to figure it all out with dirt, with these kids being so young now, And Paul came up to me at Utica Rome when Alex actually broke the car that he was in leading, and so they swapped the seat out and put him in, I think it was Troy's car, right? Or JT's car, one of the kids, and they started him in the second race, and he come from like 17th to win his first race at Utica Rome, and we were like, Paul Cole came to me right afterward at the races. He goes, we'll make something happen.
Yeah.
He goes, that was pretty impressive. And,
wow.
And I was like, back in my day, it's been 14 for a long time. You could get in the car and But my thoughts were always that, these kids would be, 15, 16, and my dad put me in a street stock at 14, 15 because, he didn't want me running around on the streets and causing trouble and doing whatever. And he was really worried about that. And so I never expected it. I never expected any of this. I mean, he just turned 16 and, or didn't just turn 16, but 6 months ago or so. And
every kid that gets involved in racing, I call it that light bulb moment. You had that slingshot sitting in the shop for a couple of years. What was there a particular moment? Were you guys at a race somewhere? What was that kind of ignited the flame?
A lot of people do know, but I hung around with Steve Payne a long time, and we traveled for Mr. Dirt, big block and small block year that he won both, and so our kids started to get to be friends at Canandaigua, and Tommy and Alex had gotten pretty close, and then Billy's a little older, and then they got the younger son there. It's Robbie, right? Joey. And so Alex said, "Hey, Steve said I could bring my slingshot down to the old go-kart track at the shop." And I'm like I told you, when you want to work on it, we'll go out there, So one Saturday he looked at me and he goes, he was sitting on our couch in the house, and he said, "Hey, do you think we could get that car ready to go down to Steve's? They're going to be out there." And so we talked about it a little bit, and that was it. It was like, and man, he went down there, and actually the first laps he made was in one of Steve's go-karts.
Okay.
And then the slingshot, and then we put all the kids in the slingshot, and of course Billy, we had to take the roof off because he was so tall.
Yeah.
But he had, he's a kid, you got to do it. But,
right.
Yeah, no, I'll never forget it. And me and Steve stood there together. It was great, and to get to be friends and get to see all of our kids. His kids are doing well and running at Outlaw and doing all that stuff, but it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. What let's talk about, these last couple of years. It's just been, I mean, you said it in Victory Lane on that video that we just did, the rise, the curve has just been so steep. From your perspective, I got Alex's perspective on the video, but what's been the key to all that? What has made it go from, hey, Dad, let's take the slingshot over to Steve Payne's house too. Now we're winning we're winning double-digit races at Outlaw. We're winning a race at Canandaigua. What's been the key to all that?
I've been pushed by my family for hard work, and everything that we've done. We don't go a little bit, we go all in. We played baseball, it was all in. We played basketball, it's all in. We played football, it's all in, And, and we've pushed that. And the people around them and the people around us, that's what we have to do,
Yeah.
And fortunately, for him, a lot of supporters. I mean, I've been around it a long time. Honestly, I mean, he's taken it by storm. He's surprised me in so much stuff that he has done himself, studying tires, studying suspension, not just me teaching him, and, me being a huge Billistein, supporter and being one of their main places to go to in this area has helped us. We got good people behind us, and and he said, from day one, the day that I bought the first Billy the Kid motor, when I get to racing big block and stuff, I really want to be running Billy the Kid motors, and I'm like, how the heck are we ever going to do that? It just isn't in our budget, and
Sure.
And, lo and behold, with just the great people that have been behind me for a while, and Alex being who he is with people, and, and picking up these great sponsors and a lot of people helping us along the way, it's blown me away. I never expected it.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about that all-in attitude, the hard work, all that stuff. That stuff's starting to get noticed by, not just some local sponsors. So you guys got some big-time help coming in this year. I can't imagine what taking that phone call or taking that meeting or whatever. I can't imagine what that was like to kind of sit back and say, holy crap, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I didn't expect that. We had a friend of ours that was sitting in the stands with Chris from Emerson Oil. And Alex was 11 years old, 12 years old. And Bob Frost was a huge supporter of my racing over the years. He used to own Autogenesis in Canandaigua. And he called me up one night and said, hey, this Chris from Emerson Oil, he'd really like to get in the car. They do some racing and do whatever. And so we had a relationship.
Yeah.
But little did I know that the first time he met Alex in our shop, at a young age, and that it clicked for him. And, and he was sponsoring, doing some stuff. He really wanted the Pepsi big blocks at Canandaigua and some stuff like that. So when that happened, and then I got a phone call one day, and me and Paul Cole were talking, and then a couple days later, Chris called us, and, for last year, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. We had, Friendlies had called us earlier, so we had already had, a quarter panel deal, and they really like Alex and all that stuff. And then Chris came along, and they jumped right in. Of course, they sponsored the track heavily and doing that stuff. And then this year, we didn't have any idea, where things turn and how they go. And we had talked to Chris over the winter, and and their real goal was they really wanted a big block. And then Bruce Bates had come along, and we got to go to Charlotte last year, and that really, I think, was a big turning point for us. Billistein called me up and said, hey, you guys got to get down to Charlotte, and so we got a car together and got a nice Billy the Kid motor to take down there. And then this winter, then it just went from one step to the other, and Alex has put the hard work in himself. I mean, this isn't something that I did. He's kept the contacts with these people. He's made friendships through the company.
That's what impressed me a few weeks ago at the mall show down in Horseheads was I was talking to Alex and he said, yeah, I've got certain contacts at Castrol and Emerson and I was just like, wow, like I can say there's a lot of 15, 16-year-old kids that are, not doing stuff like that, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea, and then he kept telling me, oh, no, this Greg guy, and I'm like, okay, so, well, you keep those,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, for Alex, his whole life has been the pits, right?
Yeah.
So all of his friends, honestly, are 20 plus years old. His mom's here too, she'll tell you, I mean, 90% of his friends are adults.
Sure.
So when they told us when they had the sponsor night at Canandaigua that they were just so impressed with him. They were on one side disappointed they wanted to see him race. You know what I mean? And we just couldn't make it happen. We just weren't able to have the big block stuff in order to put him in the car the first time. But I think it was so much more important. We had the first night in the rain.
Right. That's right. Yep.
So he got to spend some real quality time with the people at Emerson Oil, and then he got to spend some time. 2 of the guys out of the 4 that were going to fly in from Castrol, 2 of them made it. So that's where he had gotten his contacts with them guys. And in today's day and age, it's so much easier. Alex was like, oh, I got that guy's phone number. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Oh, I just talked to him there. So it was like, it was great. He just put himself in that boat right from the start, and he made a friendship.
Yeah.
Not just racing and doing whatever, but he, genuinely made friends. He talks to them, almost weekly, and they get to follow it. We we did a meet and greet thing at Emerson Oil for their company, last year, and that went over so big. Me and Alex went up this year for some of the meetings, and we go in the cubicle of ladies and people there. The entire company's behind him.
Nice.
It's
nice.
Really cool.
I remember seeing that picture last year, and I just thought, man, as somebody that tries to help drivers and teams make connections with sponsors to try to keep their operation going, I looked at that last year and I said, yes, somebody gets it. You got to do these things. It's like I've had people that have wanted to throw sponsorship proposals, and I said, hey, tell them you put your car at their business for, that company picnic or for 2 hours before race day or something. And so many people scoff at stuff like that, but I'm telling you, man, you do that stuff, you're going to, not only are you going to get them this year, you're going to get them coming back next year and saying, how much more can we do?
Yeah.
That stuff's so important.
It was, and it is. And fortunately for me, throughout my racing career, I've never been able to be a full-time racer, but sometimes I feel like we were. and we made those relationships along the way. I've been a pizza log driver, and I've had Admar behind us, and the most recent with, this is our 7th year with Mike's Hard Lemonade, and little did I know that me and one of the guys from Mike's Hard Lemonade, it was a format that we had to learn. So I mean, a lot of people don't know, but we traveled 2-3 years to Walmarts all across the state and different, wherever they was a big place to try to keep the Mike's Harder going. So
sure,
it's not. It's still, no matter what, it's still about the public. It's still about the fans. You got to draw them in. You got to make them like you. Not make them like you, but they got to like you. And, I got to watch a thing on Facebook the other night, Jack Howell. Doug did that interview,
Yep.
And then when he spit out Alex Payne, but God, we did in 99, 2000, 2001, running the Sportsman and running the Sportsman Tour and stuff. Jack was around, but God, we need all these guys.
Yeah.
And we need their sponsors for the tracks.
Yeah.
There's so much of it. And, he locked in with Alex, like he did back in the day. I mean, we traveled everywhere. And he was around it a lot.
Nice. Yeah, no, Jack's a great example. Last year, he loves being around this stuff, but he took it that one step further. He's now a track sponsor, and he had so much fun last year with the folks up in the tower. They said, "Hey, we want to do this twice this year."
Yeah, that's...
and that's just how it builds. I don't care if you're a race team, if you're a racetrack. That's how you build this stuff. I don't want to have this interview and talk to you here. Eldon Payne joining us here on Where Legends Are Made. I don't want to have a conversation with you without talking about Kennedy's development too, because the last couple seasons it's tough to be a rookie in this. I was talking with Alex during the video. Our sportsman class is so tough. It's so competitive. To be somebody brand new coming into the sport, that is quite a daunting task. And she's going to have a great opportunity this year, trying to get more laps.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us. We were snowmobiling last year, and I come home and I said to her mother, I said, Kennedy told me snowmobiling this weekend that she wants to race. And Tony had said, well, yeah, I heard something, but neither one of us really thought about it that way. And so we were thinking, I was thinking from the beginning the Legends class, you know what I mean? And Canandaigua tried the B feature stuff and stuff like that. And it was definitely even tougher last year because there was just on that cuff of cars. Mm-hmm. And, with the pandemic, it was a tough time for her to get started. She's got a great car.
Yeah.
She's got the right attitude. And, I'll be honest with you, it didn't matter whether she won a race or she did nothing else. I actually never thought for 1 second that the little girl that got on the dirt bike and rode out the driveway and turned and hit the building would want to get in a race car. You know what I mean? But she got in that race car. You've seen it. She went out for hot laps the very first time when they had testing tune. We got her out there.
Yep.
Never spun the car out. Never really run into anybody. Kept up with the pace. Mm-hmm. And as the year grew, her mind got her more nervous.
Okay.
Being tied up and then going from starting last to trying to start up front, to push yourself,
Yep.
And a totally different learning curve. And we were building shocks one way for her car, and then we were building stuff for, Alex's stuff and doing whatever. And we put her in Alex's car one night at Canandaigua after the races were over. And me and Alex looked at each other like, oh, no, we can't, because she was like all over the place trying to drive the car that way. So
sure.
It was like a light bulb went on in my head. I'm like, man, I'm totally doing things to where she's not comfortable.
What's the most, in your mind, what's the most important thing for her right now and, trying to, get more experience? What's that most important thing for her right now?
Confidence.
Okay.
Over the course of the year, I think me and Paul had talked about it a little bit because we got there's a couple more rookies coming, and I had contacted him about possibly putting the Legends in and or whatever how he was going to do it, and hopefully running them first, I thought would help him get through the night easier. Actually, he came back to me and said, you know what, it does make more sense, but the confidence thing, as we seen last year, throughout the year, there was like 5 rookies, I think, that were running at Canandaigua. And every one of them decreased a little bit. And like you saw, Alex, he actually won a race and it got taken away from him because of weather and late times. The year before, he led the race and inexperience, and they got back on the radio and he didn't hear him, I guess, and he rolled off the throttle, and there you go. It was Matt all over again, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, all that stuff plays in your mind. So, in Canandaigua, we've said it forever, is if you can win at Canandaigua, you can go to any track on the Dirt Series, Short Track Super Series, whatever, and win.
Yeah.
And we've said it when I started back then, and it looks like a big old... easy place to get around, but it's really a hard place to be, a dominant force. I mean, and Matt Shepard carried it well. There is no doubt
Yeah.
And Steve Payne in his time, and Alan Johnson, and it's
And even those guys will tell you, even on nights when they win and they're interviewing with Doug in Victory Lane, they'll say, "Man, this place was tricky tonight."
Yeah,
you know, when those guys are saying it, man,
So it gets.
you've done something.
I think it got intimidating for her, and they had that big wreck on the front stretch, and her and her brother and a friend of ours there, Brandon, got flipped over, and I was driving Aaron's car, which is basically his stepfather, and so we're all a close group, and it just seemed like it decreased a little bit, and I think that's the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Scott George's girl was running, and and we had a few rookies, but I think the rookies never got their chance to. Well, it's tough, to shine. I guess is what you say. You can go over to Paradise every week, and she go over there and run with her brother, and she run around the place just fine. You know what I mean? And you carry good speed and do whatever, but you get back to Canandaigua, it can be a big old intimidating place.
Yeah.
And that's it's a tough game. This sportsman racing is so close.
Goals for the two. I'll start with Kennedy. What would be your guys' goal this year? Or is it just simply we got to work on confidence and then we'll take it from there? She
definitely wants to win one of these rookie races. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And as far as the whole race team is, we've said it the whole time. You first got to finish races.
Yeah.
You need to put yourself in a position to be a top 10 car. And then everything else kind of has to come along with it. You know what I mean? And the time and economics and money. And right now it's kind of scary because it didn't look like the tire thing was going to be as bad as it is. But I think that's going to end up playing a role later on in the season. I think if they can't get things straightened around, who is able to save tires, who is able to get tires.
Are you guys thinking right now, we're doing this mid-April, are you guys thinking right now that we're going to have to run tires longer than we normally would? Do you think we're at that point, or?
We were at that point last year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
At the end of the season, I mean, Alex, like I said, it impresses me. We have a section of our house, and if he had one night on a tire and we were able to have new ones or whatever, he tucked them away. And we had a good amount of stuff to kind of get started with, but not, now right where we left off last year, we're back at the same point. So trying to buy one or two, right rears, left rears, a front here and there, and maybe get them stockpiled. A lot of teams try to get them heat cycled, you know what I mean? And you're just not supposed to be able to just go and buy a truckload of tires anymore. One or two sets per team to get the season started, and they really want you to buy them in moderation.
When you say truckload of tires, you're not kidding. Teams, teams would do that.
Yeah, big, 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, for me and Alex said we'd like to be in that position, to be able to do that. Of course you would.
Right.
But
but looking back, that's well-funded teams, they were doing that, and you can't do that right now.
No.
Even though.
And I think that's going to be the hard part of the season. I think what's the fuel cost going to do for everybody traveling? I know there was people that were going to drive on past Canandaigua and go to other racetracks, but since changed their mind. I know there was guys that come out of Ransomville and we're going to run races at Canandaigua, Sportsman guys and some big block guys and different stuff like that. And a few of them have turned that around to where they're going to run spec-headed motor on Friday night and stay around home. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to – I think Canandaigua is going to gain some cars because of it, because they're not going to go to Can-Am or they're not going to go to Brewerton whatever. So you may see a few more big blocks show up, and that'll be good. But I just think that what's going on in the world right now is going to play the biggest role on no matter what your goals are. Is, can you put good tires on the car? Can, even Kaiser, just getting their rims and stuff back in order and getting going, and in the facility. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on with racing that people didn't realize. I mean, it's crazy, but our goal is to try to finish races every week, and I know Alex is chomping at the bit to finish up his. He just got his second TD5, and we picked up the Billy the Kid motor a couple weeks ago for Canandaigua.
Nice.
And so now we're trying to get his second car finished up. For he's got his Friday night stuff, which he got on the track with last week, and the ultimate dream. We don't talk about it, but winning would be the ultimate dream.
Sure,
at 16 years old, be one of those guys.
Yeah.
But right now, I think he's really content with. He wants to be. He doesn't want to just show up. He wants to be competitive.
Yeah.
Really competitive.
Do you think that as a rookie in the modifieds, do you think that you're going to have to pull the reins back from an excitement level, or how? I mean, when he started in Sportsman, man, everybody knew that, man, this kid's gonna win some races here, and over the course of the last couple of years, like he's found a way to do that himself. Kind of really focus in, and those moments where, oh, Alex got a little too excited there. You don't see that like we did when he first come out. So now you guys come to big blocks. Do you think that that's something that you guys are going to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we 2 years ago we put him in a big block car, and he was gonna one of my cars down at Outlaw and ride around in the back. After he got passed a bunch of times, or after he had passed a bunch of cars and then let him go back in front of him, 3 laps ago he passed me for 4th, and he was working on Allen for 3rd. With Hoosier tires and no sail panels.
Right.
So I don't know what kind of talk I could have to him. He is his biggest critic.
Yeah.
He is. You've gotten to know him really well.
Yeah.
And he is really hard on himself.
Yeah.
And he puts a lot on himself.
If there's anybody that keeps him centered, most times it's him.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
He doesn't push the envelope too much. He's very clean.
Yeah.
He's not going to run anybody dirty. He's going to back out.
Yeah.
He went to the Outlaw 200 last year, and I think he shocked everybody.
I was just going to bring that up. I say, do you think we're going to have to pull the rein? He didn't need no rein pulling at the Fulton 200.
No. The only thing he said to me was after the race was over is, that was a motor that I had built and a car that Bruce Batesel had, and we put everything together, and we had a little bit of problem with it at Canandaigua, and then we got it tuned up pretty good. And he, it being a 200 lap race, I think he had realized that the way he was racing the race, he was racing it as a short track race.
Okay.
In some senses, where he worked his way all the way up to 3rd, starting in around I think he started 9th or 10th, but
yeah,
and he worked his way up to 3rd, and he's I think he had a lot of excitement. He said when he got by Matt Shepard and Allen, and
sure,
rightfully so, but
yeah,
he should have probably taken the reins back enough to run the bottom and do what Sears was doing, and the guys that were running in front of him, which would have prepared him for a late race, fast race car. And
sure,
he teaches himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you get out of a race like that, and you can look back at it and go, that was cool, but
yeah,
I probably should have done this or this.
And just it's got to be fun to think about, man. If that was the experience at the first one, man, just wait till the next one. Like, who knows?
We got down to Charlotte, and a lot more people knew who he was than he thought, and that shocked him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on all the time that people don't necessarily see or know or whatever, but it's It's a great thing to see as a father.
Yeah.
I can't lie. That's been impressive to me.
Yeah.
And we just try to be good people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, with our kids, and try to let them learn. And both Kennedy and Alex both. I mean, tremendous students at school. A lot of support from people around the area, and that's really all we've pushed. Parents, grandparents.
That's the best compliment you can get, right?
Yeah, I don't know
when people want to be around your kids, when people, that's good stuff, man.
And it's a lot of fun for them. I mean, they probably are more ready to go to the racetrack than anybody. Every week. That's their family. You know what I mean? And Alex has been close with Carl Comfort and them guys for a long time. So he makes his way up there at Outlaw. Pretty much every week, and gets to see them guys and talk to them, and they support him big. They've been around the shop a little bit, and everybody wants to see him do well.
Exciting times, man. We've covered a lot of ground, and in some areas I feel like we just scratched the surface.
Oh, God.
So that just means we're going to have to do this again, man.
Sure.
But I appreciate the time, and I tell this to everybody, man. We're trying to get more content to the fans. I know there's a lot of Eldon Payne fans who are turning into Alex Payne fans and Kennedy Payne fans, and it's I'll tell you, man, it's a lot of fun, and I know people that have supported your team and been around the track and stuff are going to love this stuff, man. So I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, we do too. We really appreciate everything you guys have done for us too. So
absolutely, man. Let's go have a year, huh?
It's time, I hope everybody listening, we're trying to 8 to 5 every day, and we're going to try to have Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday nights. After the races, where we plan on turning the lights on and try to be here for people if we can, and
I like it,
and do what we can do. I mean, it's not a big place, but we're trying to touch spaces on all of it: fuel, tires, whatever we can do, and have it all here.
You guys heard it here first, man. You get into some trouble, grab a Tory tire at the racetrack, stop on over here to Speed Connection, and they'll set you right up after the races and get you on down the road. And I mean, just think of the convenience. How convenient would that be? You've had a bad night at the races, and then you haul all the way home, unload the car, and then you've got to go haul somewhere else to go get the parts and then go back to the shop. You just stop right here at Speed Connection on the way home, man.
Yeah, I hope it works out for people. I hope they don't have to.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
We love seeing them all go home in one piece, Yeah. And
especially this year, man. Especially this year, it's gonna be tough for everybody. So.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it a lot.
Good
luck to you guys this year, and hopefully, Mother Nature, takes some meds here. We're gonna get racing here soon. You're listening here to the A-Main interview. Coming back on the other side, Bob Miller stops by with a little tidbit this week in Land of Legends history. You're listening to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of the Land of Legends Raceway.
Let's roll back the calendar with This Week in Land of Legends history.
Welcome back to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway, and we are going to talk about This Week in Land of Legends history, and we're going to focus This Week in Land of Legends history just on opening night. It's going to be a big weekend at the Land of Legends as we open the gates for the first time for racing action in 2022. And interestingly enough, let's take a look at all of the different divisions over the past couple of seasons on opening night. As most recently, it has been Super Matt Shepard with 7 opening night wins since 2009. At the Land of Legends. We've sprinkled in Gary Tompkins twice, Steve Payne, Pat Ward, Alan and Danny Johnson, both with wins on opening night since 2009, but it's been dominated by Matt Shepard. And be interesting to see, kind of the schedule, because he's announced that they're running for points at Orange County. So I imagine that we will, last weekend was a little different. They kind of played the weather game a little bit. And at one point they were going to Fonda, then they were going to Orange County. And the way the weather worked out and moving Fonda's date to Sunday, that made it so that they could hit those double features and then head to Fonda. So I'm not sure. I imagine that we're going to see Shepard at Orange County this weekend. So the driver that's got 7 opening night wins at the Land of Legends since 2009 may not be in the field, which is going to open things up for a lot of different drivers. The interesting one to actually a couple interesting ones to think of here that have won more recently in the last 5 years. Shepard in the last 5 years has won 3 out of 5, but Steve Payne has won, and we expect the Hurricane to be showing us those hurricane force winds coming back into Ontario County on Saturday night. So we expect Payne to be in the field. He won on opening night in 2017. And then Pat Ward, a battle between him and Peter Britton, if you remember, in our COVID affected season. That race didn't kick off. Our season didn't kick off until June 6th of 2020. And it was Pat Ward taking home the win. And so it's interesting, Ward may be one of those guys that we'll see in the field with that BA Headers 42P. We'll see how that plays out on race night, but that's another driver who's won an opening event here recently that could potentially be in the field Saturday. Alan Johnson, we know we'll see him. He won in 2013, which was a Jan Corcoran Memorial, 64 lapper back in 2013. He picked up the win there. So we'll see. Justin Hares, he won on opening night back in 2007. So he may have an opportunity to get the job done as well. Moving on to the Sportsman division, Matt Quarry, 3 out of the last 5 years. He's picked up the win on opening night. He's not going to have to deal with the handicap this week. It is draw, redraw for all divisions. So Quarry, if he can get himself into the redraw, he's got an opportunity to draw a great number early on in the season here as we kick the points off. So Quarry trying to make it 4 out of the last 6 if he could pick up a win on Saturday night. But one of the guys that got circled here is Zack Zabakka. He won on opening night last year in 2021. And he's already off to a hot start. He's got a win in the Hoosier division at Outlaw on their opening night just a couple weeks ago. So Zabakka, whose team is really rallying after the shop fire that they endured over the offseason. Zack Zabakka will be a guy to keep your eye on here on opening night, trying to make it 2 in a row. Street stocks. I'm not sure that we'll see Jimmy Grant in the street stock this week or not. I know they had the Sportsman car out there testing, and from the conversations I've had with him, the street stock is going to be kind of a special event type of thing. Now, that's not to say that he won't be there with it. We'll see if the Wild Willie special street stock is in attendance. We know the Sportsman car will be there, but we'll keep an eye on that. He was your winner on opening night last season, 2020. It was Mike Welch, and here's a fun fact if you don't remember. Opening night in 2020, we had to spread the racing out throughout the day, and it was Mike Welch baking under a cloudless sky, nothing but sunshine, day racing at the Land of Legends. It was Mike Welch who absolutely put a shellacking on the field to win the opener in 2020. He has done that many, many times throughout the course of his career. He's got, I think, 4 of them now that dates back to 2009. Another guy that's won a lot of openers at the Land of Legends, Adam Depew, and I expect to see him on Saturday night as well. He got his first opening night win in 2008, backed that up again in 2015 in a 15-lapper for the street stocks, and then he swept 2018 and 2019. So keep an eye on Adam Depew in his number 99, bringing it to the track coming up on Saturday night. Hobby stocks used to be called pure stocks back in the day. Justin Eldridge, Brian Lloyd, Mark Manutlo. They are the 3 most recent in competition. They should all be in competition on Saturday night, but those 3 have won the openers for the last 3 seasons that a hobby stock / pure stock opened an event. Justin Eldridge, of course, coming off his first championship. Brian Lloyd, who, was a strong competitor, finished top 3 in the points last season. And they're just looking for consistency. They're coming loaded for bear this season. And that Lloyd's Contracting Shaw Farms 13B. So he'll be one to watch on Saturday night. And I know his fan club will be there in turn 4 to cheer him on. 305 sprint cars. Now, here's another interesting one. Darryl Ruggles, man, he's had just a stranglehold on this division for, the last 8 years, I'll say. Going back to 2014, Ruggles, since 2015, he's only won the opener once, and that was in 2015. So the 48 Junior will be a guy to keep an eye on that night. The driver who really has shown a lot of speed on opening night, and, we only see him just a couple of times a season, usually when the CRSA sprints are in town, but David Ferguson has 2 opening night wins, 2016 and 2018. But man, when you look across the board, it's been a mixed bag. Ferguson has been the only driver who has multiple opening night wins since 2015. Lee Sanders got one in there in 2014. Johnny Kolasek, Captain America, who we may see back in competition. I have not seen any pictures of the car, but I know they were working on getting Captain America back rolling with a 305 sprint car. I'm hoping we see him on Saturday night. He was the winner in 2019. Alicia Bay, the Queen of Speed, 2020, she was the winner on opening night. And last season, it was Bobby Perro. BP 53 got it done on May 15th, 2021 as your opening night winner. So there you have it. This week in Land of Legends history, taking a look back at opening night winners over the past 5 to 10 seasons, actually 15 seasons if we look back at some of Shepard's records here at the track. But those are some storylines to keep an eye on as we get ready to open the gates for 2022. That's this week in Land of Legends history. And we thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the podcast. Be sure to tune in next week as we will have plenty to discuss from opening night 2022. And we'll see if we can't round up one of the feature winners for our A-Main interview of the week. My name is Steve Ovens. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the content. And by all means, if you have any suggestions, a driver you'd like to hear from, a driver that you think needs a little bit of spotlight that doesn't get a whole lot of spotlight over the course of a race season, message the Land of Legends Raceway page, send me a private message, send me a tweet at Stephen Ovens on Twitter. Be happy to take any and all of your suggestions to give content that you want to listen to and you will enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Saturday night as we get ready to go to work.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts and visit landoflegendspodcast.com.
Fans of Land of Legends Raceway and the Where Legends Are Made podcast, we've got a great opportunity for you to feature your business. We have opportunities here to sponsor Where Legends Are Made. We have all different features of the podcast. You can pick to be a sponsor of one of our heat races. Maybe you want your business name attached to the top 10 read-offs for the week. Maybe you want your business to be the one that's heard when we play our highlight of the week. Maybe you're a history buff. You want to sponsor Heat 3, where we talk about this week in Land of Legends Raceway history. Maybe you want to be the A-Main sponsor. So when we interview our main driver of the week, you want to get your business out in front of that. We've got plenty of opportunities for you to do so, and we can work inside of any budget. And believe me, if you're listening to this and you're saying, oh, I don't think my business has the advertising budget to sponsor a podcast, believe me, we can fit inside of anybody's advertising budget. Get your business a little bit of advertising here on Where Legends Are Made. Contact us right here on the Land of Legends Raceway Facebook page if you're interested, and put your business in front of all of our fans where legends are made.